ladies and gentlemen, we have with us the Chief of the Women's and Children Protection Center of the Directorate for Investigation Detective Management. We are privileged to have with us Police Chief Superintendent Rosauro D. Asho. Please.
Friends from the media, magandang umaga po sa ating lahat. General Mayor. Today I'm supposed to be delivering my accomplishment on Monday, but a very close friend from the media asked me to present a very significant accomplishment of WCPC yesterday. So to start with, on September 15, that was the other day, at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, operatives of the Women and Children's Protection Center conducted an operation at the United Nations Avenue in Manila. It was an entrapment operation which led to the arrest of a Japanese national by the name of Mr. Noriaki Nakano, 37 years old, and two other Filipino cohorts by the names of Eduardo de Amboy de Nosda, 47 years old from Bacoor, Cavite, and the other one is his living partner, Angie Moreto, 19-year-old girl who is also a resident of Cavite. The three suspects were arrested based on the violation of Philippine laws against trafficking, that is Republic Act 9208. It is a qualified trafficking in person. It's for the purpose of sexual exploitation of the minors. The area where the Japanese or the suspect were arrested was in a hotel located at the United Nations Avenue in Manila. The operation stemmed from an intelligence report that was furnished to the WCPC on Monday after the Japanese arrived on the eve of Sunday and checked in that hotel. Actually, the Japanese is a regular visitor of the Philippines, and he has been conducting his activities in the Philippines for quite some time. It consists of procuring girls for the purpose of pornography, after which she was having sex with minors. Immediately, the WCPC conducted counterintelligence operations and gathered the information that minors were to be trafficked and brought to that hotel. On the first day of that incident, where the Japanese stayed in that hotel, a pimp by the name of alias Eddie, who is his constant and regular partner, who is with him all the while when he is in the Philippines, provided him 5 girls, all minors. And on that day, the Japanese picked up 2 of those girls and directed the 3 others to go back. And he made pornographic photography on the girls, after which he made sex also with the girl on a separate room. On the second day, the pimp was again directed to produce another set of girls. This time, the pimp asked another facilitator, who is a friend of one of the assets or informants of the WCPC, who immediately relayed the information to the WCPC. And so the WCPC set up an entrapment operation on the second day. So on the second day, when the pimp was about to bring the minors to the same hotel, the Japanese went down from that hotel and made transactions in a certain fast food restaurant, McDonald's, in the vicinity, and completed the transaction. Upon completion of the transaction, the Japanese immediately went upstairs on the 9th floor of that hotel, and the minors followed through at the lobby, and when they were at the lobby, the Japanese was immediately arrested in his hotel. So he is now in the custody of the WCPC, undergoing investigation. In fact, he has already been inquested and filed in the case of violation of Republic Act 9208 has been filed in court. All the evidences are available and can be seen in the WCPC. If friends from the media wish to have a view of the paraphernalia and the evidences that were gathered to prove that this foreigner is engaged in trafficking in person. Its accomplishment is a proof that the WCPC stands in the way against the activities of traffickers to prevent them from exploiting the vulnerable members of society and prevent them from defiling further our women. And this operation conducted by the WCPC shows the government's proactive stand in rescuing the victims of all forms of trafficking, which we consider as human slavery. It sends a very strong message to all would-be traffickers with the imposition of very strong and steep penalty and sanction and punishment against those who are engaged in trafficking. That ends my briefing. Thank you.
Questions? Anne?
So I told you, this is not my time to present my office.
Okay lang. Diyan lang naman.
Sir, yun pa yung mga tuwa natin from klase ng klase. Meron ba tayong
Marami po, maraming intelligence report that are arriving in our office, especially now that the WCPC has been reorganized, strengthened, and capacitated. We are just preparing for the arrival of more of our personnel so that we are more capable of handling, more than handling the information that is coming to us.
Kulang ba yung kasama natin?
Kulang po dahil ang WCPC that was known to us before is only a consolidating body, one that gathers all the data and consolidates them. It is a policy-making body. But in April of this year, Manapol po, the policy-making body of the National Police implemented a resolution putting to the WCPC the task of an anti-trafficking unit. Kaya po, ang anti-trafficking unit natin ngayon is now vested in the WCPC. So all cases of trafficking are now being handled by the WCPC, other than the policy making that we are handling, at saka lahat ng mga data ay nandun po sa WCPC ngayon.
So as far as papers concerned, handle natin yung last one?
In terms of investigation, of course, from the time that I assumed about 4 months ago and we started operating in June, meron na po tayong 12 cases na nakandak, and we were able to rescue about 43 victims all the way nationwide from Tawi-Tawi to Manila. Most of the cases that we are handling is in the Metro Manila. Yun po, and the suspect that we handle is about around 23 to 25. Hindi po, karamihan po dito ay locals. This is the second time that we encounter a foreigner, pero we are shifting our trust on international syndicates because the bigger number of trafficking that we see is a trafficking that involves international trafficking across border. We have an agreement with the other government, yung country nearest to us in Malaysia, allowing investigators of both country to have a close coordination. We are setting up a communication, we call it the head of specialist unit, which are mostly police, in coordination with the PCTC and the IACAT. That's why yung nangyari po doon kay yung trafficking si Maria Biloso. It was so easy for us to conduct that investigation because we already have an established communication line with the Malaysian. We intend to open that communication in all the other countries in ASEAN. There are 10 of them.
Sir, magkano yung binabayad ng Japanese sa mga victims? Doon sa pay, saka doon sa
yung transaction
Yes, yung PIM is the one who derives most of the financial benefit.
how much?
Yun pong it ranges from 10, we do not really actually know, but ang naibibigay sa mga victim is basically amount of 2,500 to 3,000. But the PIM gets the bigger lion's share. Yes, if it can be proven that they neglected or they allowed, even in some instances, lalo na ngayon, there is an emerging trend that it is family network yung nangyayari through cyber, through internet and cyber, na gumagawa na lang sila ng kanilang stations in cyber inside the community. Nagiging community based na po ngayon. Nag-shift na yung trafficking into a cybercrime. So kung minsan, it's the family that facilitates. Marami pong cases na tinututukan tayong gano'n ngayon. And the penalty for a family who facilitates, because he becomes not only an accessory, but a principal, and this qualifies the crime of trafficking. It is supposed to be the highest penalty. So qualified trafficking is reclusion perpetua or 2 million to 5 million fine. Kung mayroon sigurong capital punishment, capital punishment, just to deliver a strong message to the would-be traffickers. Yes, sir.
Yung ages ng mga victims and the youngest, what's the youngest?
Yung victim the other day on Monday was a 12-year-old child. But in many of the instances that we are able to look at the stick or the video, we see even younger than that. The youngest that we see is a 5-year-old girl being molested by another male and being shown in the video.
So this Japanese, I heard na balik lang daw po siya dito. Ilang balik na daw po siya dito sa Japanese for the rest of this.
We do not actually have a record or data of his entry and departure. Although that's the thrust of our investigation now, to find out his network and connections with Philippine counterparts. But we have strong reasons to believe that he has been coming. The information coming from our informant from ASE states that he has been here for quite some time, and that the photographs and the videos that he is getting is the one that he is advertising and presenting in Japan and in the cyber. He is uploading it.
Sir, yung sa arrest kahapon, paalis na daw ito nakahuli siya ng
Totoo po yun. He is about to stay here only for 3 days. Kaya on the first day when we missed him, it was actually a test buy on the first day to prove whether or not the Japanese was actually doing a violation against Philippine laws. And it proved, we validated that he did was violating Philippine laws under violation of RA 9208. So on the second day, we prepositioned our troops for an entrapment. That's why we did not have enough time to allow him to move around because he was leaving the next day. We have to get him because he was going to abuse more of our minors.
Has he been charged formally and yung bang mga materials na inaano niya ay binibenta pa niya paano yung manipulates? And did he act alone?
This time, he is alone. In collaboration, of course, with yung PIN na nag-facilitate ng girls.
And yun, binibenta niya daw sa European market?
Yes, ganun yung kanyang modus operandi. We would take the pictures of the minors, of the children here, and then he would sell that to the foreign for the pedophiles like him, because he was also having sex after he's going to take pictures of them to the clients who are all mostly pedophiles, to prove to them that there is a willing client or victims in the Philippines, and sometimes the pedophiles comes here most of the times and they look for the girls that are being shown by the Japanese in clothing. He is now inquested. Na-inquest na po siya sa DOJ through the facilitation and assistance of lawyers from various sectors. One of them is the International Justice Missions, who are very, very active in helping the PNP, specifically the WCPC and the IACAT. Yun po ang setup ngayon ng anti-trafficking unit is we have the IACAT, wherein the chairman is the Department of Justice, and they are being assisted by various agencies of government like, of course, the Bureau of Immigration, DOA, and other agencies, Coast Guard, that has matters that affects the coming in and going out of our travelers. It's not available. Qualified trafficking is not available.
Sir, what's the role of the JIM in that operation?
The IJM, otherwise known as International Justice Mission, of course, they are with us today. Evelyn Pingris, the communication, and Brian. Sila po yung tumutulong sa atin in providing training. Sila din po yung nagbibigay sa atin ng assistance on legal. Kaya madali nating craft yung case or the complaint because they provide a battery of lawyers other than the lawyers that are being provided by the IACAT.
Sir, without divulging yung mga strategy na ginawa niyo, paano po natin nakamakuha itong information about this Japanese and yung mga ganun circumstances that led you to the arrest of this foreign pedophile? Parang may narating na yung information.
Yes, mostly their information. It can start from the grapevine, and if you develop that information, you come up with the counterintelligence information, you have to validate that. Of course, the inner details of the strategy, I may not be able to divulge unless I might disclose some very important.
WCPC lang ba yung operation or you have other units, other agencies in the government para to make it possible?
On this specific occasion, on this specific operation, yung WCPC unilaterally conducted the operation. but we have to coordinate with the other agencies like the BIACAT and the NGOs who are also very, very supportive and giving assistance sa atin, WCPC. Well, I have been there since April off, but we started the end of April, but we started operating in June to allow me to study the dynamics of trafficking, because trafficking is a new function of the WCPC. As I said, yung old WCPC that we know is only involved in the WCPC cases, the WCPC, violence against women and children.
Parang domestic lang.
Domestic lang, there's no much problem and issues to this, because when we say it's domestic, it is not run by syndicate like in trafficking. It is a family problem that does not need so much intelligence work. It is an spontaneous outburst of emotion among members of the family, sometimes being shied away by policemen for fear that we interfere on the domestic relations of the family. But if there is a valid complaint, then without abandoning WCPC, we have included in our function yung trafficking in person, which is more dangerous to us, because by 2016 we see that there will be an opening of the economic influx. There will be influx of services and goods, and this would allow yung ating mga illegal recruiters and syndicates to exploit the situation. Kasi parang nagkakaroon na tayo ng interdependent. And there would be a free flow of services and goods.
Since ito nung June kayo nag-operate, ito yung biggest so far accomplishment ng WCPC o in the past?
Well, hindi naman po. Marami na rin tayong kinandak na operation against establishment na nangyayari. Times it leads to the closure of this establishment. There were strippings, and there were also trafficking that does not necessarily involve sex trafficking. Ito yung in Mindanao, where trafficking is rampant, pero the purpose is not really sex exploitation but labor. Ang Mindanao kasi is a very porous border. You just need to go and reach Tawi-Tawi and Bungaw, and 10 kilometers or 15 kilometers away, you are right in the heart of Malaysia, and that is Sindangan. So, Sandangan. And ito po yung marami tayong nare-rescue na victims, but we lack some initiatives in filing of cases in Mindanao. That's what we are focusing now. Yung case solution and the filing of cases, because the only means that we can drive fear into the hearts and minds of the traffickers is conviction, which is the biggest deterrent. No amount of rescuing victims would lessen the resolve of traffickers if we cannot put them to jail, if we cannot put them behind bars. So ito po yung ating trust ngayon ay pinagtutunan natin ay i-increase natin yung number of convictions. Fortunately, we have good lawyers with us.
At the same time, ano rin kayo, parang yung proactive effort din na to inform the community, although lang kayo ng manpower, may ganun ba kayo activity to go to the community and tell his parents na huwag kayong kumita ng pera dun sa pag-exploit sa mga
Yes, ma'am. That's really what we are doing now. Other than the active operations that we are doing is our advocacy and campaign education in the far-flung areas. Especially, we realize that the root cause of trafficking is still poverty and underdevelopment in the areas where there are less infrastructures and facility and means of education. That's why they are very vulnerable and prone to trafficking. Another is probably yung technology ngayon. is very, very accessible. And so what we do is we go to the power plant in all the regions making use of the WCPD. Yung WCPD, although they are not directly under our management, they are under our operational control. Kaya yung mga programs natin on the WCPC, when it comes to advocacy and advertising or bringing out yung ating mga initiatives, is pinadadaan po natin sa regions through the WCPD.
Okay.
Sir, ano nga pala yung modus nila ng Japanese para sa nagsimula at na-explore yung kanya illegal activity? Meron na ba siyang contact dito sa Pilipinas para agad-agad magawa niya?
Yan po ang subject ng ating investigation ngayon, is to look for his links, network, and contacts. But we know for a fact na marami na siyang na-establish na contact. And siguro yun ang pagtutunan ng pansin ng WCPC in the next few days.
Do we expect more arrest in connection with sa activity ng Japanese? O yung couple na dalawa lang talaga yung connected dito?
Well, maybe in the future, pag na-open natin yung kanilang network, we expect that there will be more operations na i-launch natin so that we can look into the other syndicates that are operating and defiling our events.
Parang yung operation para sa kanya, nagsimula lang sa na-information o parang gano'ng katagal na natin siyang yung information about the Japanese, kailan pa dumating sa inyo? Last month, early this week?
Last month, but the informant says that he has been here more than a year ago conducting his operation. In fact, doon sa na-recover namin mga evidence which contains video footages, ay medyo marami-rami na rin siyang mga minors na procure as evidence and shown in those videos dahil marami na siyang nakuhanan. And these are the ones that he's openly uploading doon sa internet.
Anong edad yung Japanese? Tapos ano yung parang front na word niya dito at sa kasahan?
The age of the Japanese is 37 years old. And he poses to be a professional photographer kasi napakaganda ng kanyang mga gamit. But the biggest enticement, of course, is still money. He has a network of pimps who would readily provide and procure for him the services of this minor.